In this video, we're going to talk about parallelism. That is matching grammatical structures, finding a way to be consistent within a sentence. So what is parallelism? Well, it comes from this idea of parallel lines. The lines that you can see here both go in the same direction. They're parallel. They will never cross each other. So they both go in the same direction. So when we're talking about grammar, we must match grammatical structures in a list of two or more. For example, we can have a list of nouns, or a list of verbs, or a list of phrases, or a list of clauses. But the key is to be consistent. We don't want to mix and match grammatical structures. Nouns with verbs in a list, for example, would not be technically grammatically correct according to standard English. So we want to be sure that we're consistent. So let's look at some examples. Marta is a baker, not a banker. So in this case, we have two nouns, baker and banker. Here's another example. I love to run, hike, and swim. Here we have a list of verbs. Run, hike, and swim. Here's another example. Professors can be fun, interesting, and thoughtful. Well, of course, that's an opinion. But in this case, we have three adjectives, fun, interesting, and thoughtful. Here's an example with phrases. Running 3 miles is one thing. Running an entire marathon is another. So we have the phrase running 3 miles and then the phrase running an entire marathon. So these are good examples of parallelism, where we're being consistent with our grammatical structures. So when do we need to use parallel structure? Oftentimes when we're connecting ideas with coordinate conjunctions, and these again are fanboys, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. So here are some examples of using parallel structure or parallelism with these coordinate conjunctions. Here we have an example with adjectives. She is fun, caring, and friendly. The next one is an example with phrases. You can do your homework now or do your homework later. And here's another example with phrases. I believe in working hard first and relaxing later. Of course, we have a few more opinions embedded here. So what are some other times when we would use parallel structure? When we have correlative conjunctions, so phrases like both, and, not only, but also, either or, neither nor, and rather than. All of these are cases where we would use parallel structure. So here are some examples. Jose is both intelligent and wise. So we've got adjectives there, intelligent and wise. He is not only smart, but also athletic. Again, another example with adjectives. He will either become a doctor or become a lawyer. So there we have phrases. Neither his mother nor his father have doubts about his success. In this example, we have nouns, mother and father. And then one more example. He would rather study medicine than study law. So you can see how we're maintaining a similar structure, how it's parallel grammatically. Here are some more examples. We also need to use parallel structure when we use comparisons using than or as. So here are a couple of examples. Maggie cares about her academic life as much as she cares about her social life. So here we have a whole clause. Maggie cares about her academic life as much as she cares about her social life. So there it's a clause compared to another clause. Here's one more example. For her, enjoying life is more important than getting straight A's. So here we have a phrase, enjoying life, getting straight A's. Notice in this example, we're using gerunds, verbs ending in ing. So even the form of the verb should be the same. We should be using a similar structure with the form of the verb as well. We also use parallel structure whenever we have items in a list or a series. So if we have 3 or more nouns, 3 or more adjectives, 3 or more verbs, 3 or more phrases, we would use parallel structure. A couple of examples here. Maggie likes to study, read, and write. So there we have clearly 3 verbs: study, read, and write. Another example, I have pens, pencils, erasers, and staples in my desk. There I've got a list of items, in this case all nouns. So the main thing that we need to remember with parallelism is that we're matching grammatical structures. We can think about parallel lines. We want them all to go, they all go in the same direction, so we want always to have the same grammatical form. So we're going to be consistent whenever we're structuring lists.